Hi everyone, welcome back to yet another video in this series of Excel. And in this video, we're going to be looking at how do we build a dashboard that looks like this. We're going to be using pivot tables. We're going to use some of the Excel formulas and conditional formatting to try and achieve this. This is going to be a hands-on session. So I request you to download the file, the details of which is in the description below. Thank you so much, and I will see you on the other side.
Let's have another look at the dashboard. So this is what we have. We have the total sale, the profit percentage, and the product sold. And we have slicer for each of the months. So if I click on this, you will see that this data is dynamic and it changes. For me to clear this, I click on this and then I can click on any of these category and you will be able to see that this changes automatically. Here we also have salespeople who have done greater than 35K and below 35K. And of course, our high profit products. So this is what we are trying to build. To do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this to a new workbook. I have the data here. This is the workbook that I have. The first thing that I'm going to add is something called as the TCP and the TSP. So the TCP is our total cost price, which is our quantity into the cost price. And TSP is our total selling price, which is our quantity into selling price. And I drag it down or double click and now this is done. So this is ready. Now I have to insert a pivot table. To do that, I click on insert, click on pivot table and ensure that you click on add this data to the data model. This is going to help you with a lot of calculations that we are trying to do. So this is the first thing that you will see and your view might be a little different. It might look something like this. To change this, I click on it and I can use this layout. The reason I like this is because then I can see all the fields that I have here. Now, what is it that first I want? I want to look at what is the cost price that I have and moment, or rather, I want to look at the TCP and the TSP. So this is our total cost price and the total selling price. And you will see here, I don't have any profit as of now. So I want to add that profit field. And this is where ensuring that we add to data model is going to help. And we're going to add a new measure. To do that, I can right click on this and click on add measure. And we're going to call this as profit. And what is my profit? My profit is going to be, I'm going to open my square bracket, sum of, what is it? It is sum of my cost price or okay, sum of cost price, or rather first let me do sum of selling price, okay, sum of total selling price, okay, minus the sum of the total cost price. And I want to show this in numbers. So I'm going to select number. I don't want decimal points. Click OK, and you will see that there's a new field that is added here. And I know that this is not part of the field by this FX button. If I click on it, it is going to give me the total profit that we have achieved. The next thing that I want is I want to calculate the percentage. So my percentage is going to be, to calculate the percentage, it is going to be my total. So this is my profit divided by my total selling price. Basically, this is my profit percentage. If you see, it is about 16%. And what is that? This is my profit divided by my total selling price. So this is what we want to achieve. So let's add another measure to do that. Once again, right click, add measure, and we're going to call this as profit percentage. I'm just going to call it as profit per. And what is that? That is my profit. Okay, I have that. Divide that by my sum of total selling price. Okay, and I want to display this as a percentage. So I select numbers again, click on this, click on percentage. I don't want decimals, click OK. And now you will see I have the profit percentage. If I click on that, you will see I've got the percentage there. So I've got all of this data. Now I want to display this data in a text box there. So what I'm going to do is just copy this and paste it out so that I can reference this cell directly from there. Now, the other thing that I want to do is I want to display this in thousands format. I don't want to display this entire number there. It might kind of look odd. So first let us rename this. I'm pressing Alt HOR to rename. I'm going to call this as pivot table. So all my pivot tables is going to come here. Another thing that I want to do is I want to add a sheet for the dashboard. The shortcut key to do that is Shift F11 is to add a new sheet. I'm going to Alt H O R, rename that to dash. Okay. And I don't want these grid lines. To get rid of the grid lines, again, I can go to Alt W. Okay. BG gets rid of the grid line. Now I want to add the data here, right? So if I let us go back here to see how that looks, right? So this is what I want to add. So this is basically a text box with a green color that I've added. Let me show you how do you add that. So I'm going to go to insert and you will see you have the text box option here. I'm going to click on that and draw a text box. First, I'm just going to make it big so that you can see how that looks. And if you and let me also change the color shape format. I'm going to make it shape fill. And if you see here, the difference here is it is more rounded. So how do I change that? I can click on it. Okay, click on show shape format. Go to edit shape, and there's an option called as change shape, and I click on this rounded corners. Okay. Now you'll see I have this rounded corner. Clicking on this yellow circle here, I can adjust the curves. So this is what I want. And here I want to display the value. And where is that value? I have that value here. So which is my total cost price. I actually want to display my selling price. Okay. So this is what I want to display. So how do I get that data here? So I select the text box, click on equal to in the formula bar, not inside the text box. Please remember, I'm not clicking inside the text box, not equal to here, but in the formula bar, I press equal to. I click on pivot table. This is where my data is, and then I select my total selling price. Hit enter, and I have that value here. Then if you see here, the difference here is we have those values as thousands. To change that, I'm going to go back here. I will change the data here or the values here. Each of these I want to display it in thousands. So I click Control 1, which is the shortcut key for format cells, or I can right click and click on format cells here. And then I'm going to custom format this. The custom format is now let's assume if you want zero after the value. So I'm going to put zero before dot zeros. And you will see here there's a value that is coming here. I want to divide this by thousands. So I'm going to put a single comma. And you will see moment I do that, it changes. And then space capital K. If I don't want this decimal, you will see if I delete this, right? If I delete this, you will see I don't get that decimal value. So I want to show the decimal value also. So 0.0. So now I get that is 4,520. Right? I have that value. Click OK, and this value is here. Now, if I go back to the dashboard, you will see it is already changed here as well. Now what I want to do is increase the font size. Let me see, go back here. If you see the font size that I have is Calibri and 24. So I'm going to use that same thing, increase the font size to 24. Either I can increase it like this. Okay, and then change it to whatever font that you like. Let me see if Poppins is there. No, I don't have Poppins. I'm going to go back to Calibri and select it. And then you can kind of resize it however you want. So this is one value that I have. And I'm going to press Control D to duplicate it. Now the next value that I need is I want to get, so I've got my total selling price. That is what I have, sum of total selling price. Now I also want to display the profit, right? And if you see the cell is C7, so either I can go back here to my dashboard. Here I can change this to C7 directly, and you will see it gets a value. I also want to display the profit. We're going to change the formatting later. I also want to display the profit percentage. Okay. And what is the cell there? It is D7. You can go back here and change this to D7, and you will see it displays all of these values. And now I can go here, click on this format, click here, format again, and now I have those three values. Let me align these values here. So I can click on it, click center align, and maybe center it there as well. Okay, both of these as well. I'm going to center align there. Okay, this as well, center align. If I want it at the bottom, then I can choose the bottom like that. Here, let's see however you want to design that. Now also have another heading that is here, right? Again, this is another text box that I have and different or smaller in size. Right, so this is my total sale that I had. I'm just going to align that. Okay, this is my total profit. There's my total profit. Okay, total profit, and this is my profit percentage. I'm going to control D, duplicate that, and then just move it along here to total or profit percentage. Percentage. So these are the three values that I have. If I want to adjust the size, etc., I can select them. Okay, and then click on shape format, and this is where I can adjust the height of all of them together. Right? I can reduce it, increase it, however I want. I'm going to reduce it to that. Okay. I can also now have an option to align it. I'll say align on top, so all of them gets aligned properly. So these are the three values that we already have. And if you see here, this is the first thing that we want to achieve. Now, next I want to get this slicer for months. I'm going to go back here, go to the pivot sheet. And while I'm inside the pivot table, that's when you will have this option. If you see I'm outside, I will not get this pivot table analyzed. Right? I'm going to go back here, click on what is it that I want? I want a slicer. Click on slicer, and I've got date, but I don't have the month. So first, maybe let me duplicate this or create another pivot. And the fastest way to create another pivot table is copy the data or the pivot that you have, control V, paste it basically. Okay, I'm going to remove all of this and just select the date. The moment I do that, the advantage is you will see it automatically splits it into the year, quarters, and month. I'm going to get rid of all of them. I just want the month, that now I have the month, and you will see how it also creates the month there for me. Okay. Now if I go back to my pivot table analyze, click on slicer, now I will have it's come here. You will see I have for month. Click OK, and I've got the months. I'm going to copy this. Okay, go to my dashboard and paste it. See, the one is, of course, the format is not right. And when I talk about the format, the coloring, and if you see here, here we had it in two columns. How do I change it into two columns? If I click on the slicer again, please notice that I don't have the slicer option here. When I click on it, I get this menu. Click on slicer. I want to make it two columns. Okay, and then of course now reduce. Uh, Okay, I think I would need more than two columns. Okay, I would need six columns. Okay, and two rows. So that is six columns. And now you'll see I have six columns here. And the slicer that I want is in green color. So I click on the green here. And if I want to change the name here, I can click on, you will see here the slicer caption, or I can also click on slicer settings here. The reason I want to clicking on this is so here you will see there's an option which is hide items with no data. So if your slicer does not have data, it is automatically going to hide that. Okay, and you can also change the name from here, the display header and the name. So the caption I'll call it as select month. Click OK, and then now I have the month data as well. Okay, I don't have any data that is there, so that is fine. So now let's build the other things that we want. What is it that we want? We want the brand as well, or basically the category. I go back to my pivot table. Uh, I can delete this slicer here now. Go back to pivot table, analyze slicer, and here what do I need? I need category. Click on OK. And now I have these categories. Okay, selected and dashboard. Okay, pivot slicer, and then again green. I'm just going to increase the height of this so that I don't want this the scroll bars here. Okay, and I'm going to zoom out of this a bit. It's at 100%. I'm going to zoom out maybe to about 85%. Okay, and then furthermore, maybe a little more. Okay, so this is what we have. We have the categories here. And then again, I can click on these categories and the values are going to change, make it more dynamic. This is not changing because this is the fixed values, right? And we've got those values directly from the pivot table. So the next thing that I want to have is I want to create these labels, which is I want the product, I want the selling price, the total profit, all of that. So this is what I want. Again, I'm going to go back to pivot. I'm going to get rid of this. I don't need this. What and all do I need? I need the product. Okay, so I've got the product now. I want the selling price. I've got the selling price. Okay. Uh, Instead of this selling price, I'm going to calculate the total selling price. Okay, so this is my total selling price. Let me also add the quantity, and maybe I will move the quantity above the selling price. We have that, and then I want to calculate the profit percentage as well. Okay, so each of these I have the profit percentages. Okay. And I can change the name of each of these. I can just double click and I will call this as product. So this is our product. The quantity sold, QTY sold. This is my selling price, and this is my profit percentage. This is the data. I can copy this. I'm going to copy this. Okay. Go back to dashboard and I'm going to paste it. And here, what I want to do is maybe first let me change the layout here, uh, or the design in the pivot table here. First, I'm going to select the pivot table, go to design, and maybe I want to have that green and black. Yeah, is something that I like. I can select this now once again, the product till here. I'm going to select this, go back to my dashboard. I don't want this, and I'm going to paste it once again and copy it once again and paste it. And the first thing that I want to do here is I kind of want to, again, I think let me do all of those corrections here and then, kind of get it here and delete. I'm going to paste it once again. So copy it, paste it once again. And then here, I'm going to use this option, not the picture, but next to that, you will see something called as a linked picture. So now this complete thing is a picture, which you can move wherever you want. Okay, let me get rid of this layout that I had here and the colors that I had. I'm going to just select that formatting and kind of paste that there. Okay. Now I have the picture. I can keep it wherever I want. And now when I click on this data, you will see it starts changing automatically. Right. And now here as well, if I click on cooking oil, I can get the details for cooking oil, for dairy, each of those. And I clean. This is my clear filter and clear filter. I have my data. I can, of course, now this is a linked picture, so I can kind of move it around. I can increase the size however I want. And then, I can kind of move it around like that. I have all of this data. I have the months, I have the category and the product. Next, what is it that I want? I want to look at people, or rather, let's maybe kind of insert these two, which is a little more quicker. And the formula that I was using is equal to today. Open and close bracket, that is giving me today's date. The next thing that I also want is I want to add the time. I'm going to click on now. And then here I'm going to change this, delete all of this. I just need the hours and the minutes there. I click on that and I've got that data as well. I've got that data as well. Next, what do I want? I want to get the 35,000 club or whatever, is it the data that I want to display. So here I want to look at the salesperson who's crossed the total selling price. Okay. The total selling price should be greater than a certain amount that we have. Here is what I need from this data. I need to look at the salesperson and the total selling price. So for that, I need to create another pivot table. So faster way is I'm just going to copy this entire pivot table and paste it here. Now I need the salesperson. So I'm going to tick that. I'm going to remove total cost price, profit and profit percentage. Now I've got the total selling price. Now, what is it that I need? So from this, I want to look at people or salespeople who have done greater than 220,000 and less than 210,000. To do that, I'm going to use the filter function. So filter is my array. I'm going to go here, select both. I need the name and the selling price. I don't need the grand total, so I'm going to unselect that. I've selected only my range, comma. What should it include? One is it should include this should be greater than 220,000. That's 22,200, 22, and one more. Close bracket. And now I've got list of salespeople who have done greater than 220,000. I also want to look at employees who have done or salespeople who have done less than 210,000. So for this, again, equal to filter. I'm going to go to my data or array here. I'm going to select this, comma. What should it include? It should include this is less than 210,000. Close bracket. And I've got list of employees who have done less than 210,000. Let us see what else do we have in our dashboard. I'm going to go back to my other workbook And what else do we have here? I want to look at my high profit products or products that are greater than the average amount. To do that, I'm going to go back to my workbook here once again. And what is it that I want from here? I want to get a list of products greater than the average. Again, I'm going to duplicate my pivot table, Control C, Control V. From here, what do I need? This time I need the product and maybe the total selling price. It should be greater than the average. First, let us find out what is the average. So this is my average. I want to look at products where the average is greater than 243,798. That is the average. To do that, again, we're going to use the filter formula. Let me do that here. So is equal to filter. My arrays, I'm going to go here. This is my array. Comma. What should we include? So this is where we are going to say, we're going to select this range. This should be greater than the average. Okay, greater than the average of this. So it is automatically going to calculate the average and give us the output. And now we have list of products. We have list of products which is greater than the average. So when the average changes, it is automatically going to change the data. Right, so this is how we have built this dashboard that you see here. Here, of course, I've used conditional formatting to do that. You can go ahead and try and let me know how that goes. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.